welcome to our second
Holding Hands
vlog. Nessa wanted to say hello.
Hi. She'll bump in and out throughout this entire podcast. All right, so we had another fun couple of weeks of shows that we want to share with you guys on our journeys. So starting off with the February 28th at the Bankhead Theater in Livermore, we had International Guitar Night, which was kind of a fun show. It was a group of 4 guys. They came in and played a collection of guitars. Each one did it solo, and then one of them brought in another act, and then another act, and it was fun. And
cool.
One guy actually had a 3-necked guitar,
oh, very cool.
Which was kind of crazy.
So you were working that show, right?
I was working the show at the Bankhead Theater, so it was a fun show.
I wasn't there, so I'm bummed I missed that one.
Yes.
The next one we did see together was on March 2nd. Jess's niece, Emily, was on the tech crew of her high school production of Rock of Ages School Edition. And this was fun. They did a great job. They had a beautiful set. The kids were pretty strong singers for the most part. And just with the school edition kind of changed the content a little bit, made it more appropriate for kids because there's some stuff in the real show that I really don't want to see high schoolers doing, but
exactly.
It was fun seeing. But they did a good job with it. There's some roles that it's still kind of awkward seeing a high school kid playing that adult, but they handled it well.
Yeah, it's hard to be older than yourself.
Yeah.
I also took out an ad for my business in this one as well. So go see more shows at
Heritage High School in
Heritage High
Brentwood.
School.
It was kind of cool. At intermission, they sold little lighters, little light-up lighters, and at the end, they had everybody in the audience doing this kind of thing with their lighters that they bought. Yes. So it was a fundraiser, and I've turned it into a magnet to add to our refrigerator. But that was fun. On the next day, on March 3rd, we had a double Mamma Mia day.
Yes.
So we went to see Mamma Mia first at Stage 1 in Newark at Newark High School, their presentation. And Mamma Mia is very near and dear to my heart because I did massage for the Broadway tour.
Yes.
And so it's really hard for me to find a production that really lives up to my expectations. There were things about this production that I loved. They had some great singers, they had some great talent, some great friends were in it. I thought Nick Sears as Sky did a great job.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah. But they did a great job. One thing that kills shows to me is a big clunky set and set changes. Mm-hmm. And so most of the productions of Mamma Mia we've seen locally, I felt that the set changes hinder the production.
It takes away from it, doesn't it? It's like all of a sudden we're waiting a few minutes for a scene to change or anything
so
like
it kind of just knocked us out of the flow of the show. But they did a good job, and I enjoyed, and they had some great music. And at the end, they encouraged the audience to come up where they usually have the pit in front of the stage. Mm-hmm. They had their band backstage, so they had an area for people to come up and dance during the end. So that was fun.
It was fun to get out there in that last scene. So if you haven't seen Mamma Mia at all, definitely go check out a version that's coming out near you.
That one actually closes today, so I'm not going to be able to see it because we'll get this out after that, unfortunately. Later that night, we saw Mamma Mia again through Staged Musical Arts, Notre Dame de Namur University. And this was an interesting production. It was very, the set was very minimal. They had kind of a metal staircase on stage. They had a little platform in front of that. And then they brought a few pieces out for that.
Exactly. And instead of sitting in the audience, we were actually up on stage. So they had a very, very close and intimate performance of that.
Yes, and they used projections for their backdrop, which was effective. I appreciated kind of the simplicity of it, and it kind of brought out some of the intimate moments a little better. Instead of having an orchestra, they used a recorded track, so it kept the speed was good. They had some great singers, some great talent. Really liked their Sophie in this production.
Quick scene changes too.
Yeah, so that
there was not much to change.
Yeah, so the flow of this show kind of worked really well. Some of their choices were a little interesting. Tap dancing for Dancing Queen was interesting to me, but
brought a new dimension to it.
New dimension, but it was fun. But so we had a double Mamma Mia day, and I know there's some other productions coming up in the future. So one that I might be very heavily involved with. Stay tuned. The next show we saw was on March 6th at New Conservatory Theater Center in San Francisco, and we saw their production of Steve.
Yes. Steve is great. You know, I would have to say that communication in any relationship is really hard. And being where it was two Steves, Steve and Steven, one with a P, one with a V. And, you know, having a relationship where I had someone with my same name, it's always interesting how that works out. Just to quote Come From Away, it was cute for a while, but communication is very important in a relationship.
They did a great job with this production. Just like I said with Mamma Mia, I loved the set of this one, but at times the set changes were a little clunky. And we saw it during previews, so I'm sure that they've ironed that out a little better now. So. But it was great. And one I really like, there's a couple of moments in this where Steve, one of the main characters, kind of has out-of-body experiences where you see on stage what's happening in his mind, so what he wanted to say to people. So he did that when he found out his partner was sexting somebody else, kind of how that played out in his mind, and then we saw what really happened, which was a lot less
dramatic,
yeah.
easier.
And then later when one of his best friends who's going through cancer, when she passes on, we don't realize that at the time.
Tearful.
But he's kind of having a conversation with her that he's never had, which was very, very heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to see that kind of that out-of-body experience happen a little more during the show.
Definitely. It was, wow.
One cool thing that they did with this show, it's very witty and there's a lot of theater references kind of tucked into the dialogue. Before the show started, in the lobby at New Conservatory Theater, they had a big sing-along of different shows that are kind of referenced in Steve. And so they had lyrics available, and somebody was on the piano, and everybody was just singing along to the show. It was great. A lot of fun. Jess did something on March 8th.
Yeah, I went and recorded Jeff's show with, not Dublin, with Danville Community Theater, where he does a great job with kids. If you have any kids in the Danville area and you're looking for a place to introduce them to theater, you know, he does a great job. And he did a lot of references to Hamilton, and I'm currently editing it right now, and he'll have it available. I don't think he'll have it on his website, but he always does very creative shows, and they're all written by him, which really is a dynamic of himself. So that was my...
Jeff and Stephanie lead that up, right?
Yeah, Jeff and Stephanie do all that. Yeah.
Very cool. Then on March 9th through 11th, we're both involved with a show at Tri-Valley Repertory Theater called Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. We just had auditions, and it was awesome seeing some great talent, some familiar faces, and some new people. But those shows are going to be at the Bankhead Theater July 20th through August 4th. And then in addition to that, Tri-Valley Repertory Theater will be doing a production of Smokey Joe's Cafe at the Firehouse in Pleasanton, and those shows run April 27th to May 12th.
Yes. And
you can check out any information at Tri-Valley's website, trivalleyrep.org.
Also follow them on social media.
After the first day of auditions on March 9th, we went to Las Positas College in Livermore and saw a production of The Drowsy Chaperone. This is the funniest musical you've never heard of.
I know, and I've never seen it, and it was a lot of fun. I guess it's a winner of 5 Tony Awards, and, you know, it's really kind of, you go through a gentleman's guide into a show that he really likes that I've never seen. So, you know, and it was great production, great acting. You know, had a lot of fun with it.
Kyle Burgess, who I acted with many years ago in a production of Urinetown, played the man in the chair, who kind of leads and guides us through the story, and he was just amazing and incredible through this. Yep. And they had some great talent throughout their production. So
plus an intermission. Yeah, that was handled nicely.
So The Drowsy Chaperone. I think this one closes, or is closing, or has closed. But if you ever see a production of this pop up, check it out. It's amazing.
It's a lot of fun.
And then we went to the Strand Theater, part of A.C.T, on March 13th. And saw a production called Her Portmanteau.
I had to practice on how to say this one a couple times.
It is a suitcase, usually made of hard leather, and opens into 2 compartments, and you see it displayed here on the front of their program. And that actually played into the show. So it's kind of about three ladies, a mother who had to leave one of her daughters, I think in Nigeria, or back in, and then she had another family in the States where a girl, one of her daughters grew up here, and then they're bringing this other daughter back, and just kind of just kind of playing the relationship and the hurt and the love and not knowing why they were left and confusion, yeah, and the mother seeing all these photographs of her past in her daughter's suitcase, which was hers, and just kind of going through the emotion of that. Yeah. The set, absolutely incredible. This huge apartment that moves forward. You know, it's like, the whole stage is actually coming towards you. Yeah. But just the acting these three ladies were incredible.
And they brought in 3 archaic things that I haven't seen before. 3 phone booths.
Yeah, they had phone booths at the beginning.
So, which is funny.
One thing that you liked and I did too was they part of the play is spoken in their native language. Yes. And they don't translate it for you. No. Which was kind of cool to just sit there but you don't necessarily know exactly what they're saying, but you get the emotion of what they're saying. You feel it. You say, oh, okay, yeah. I see that they're saying this. Or they use a little bit of English to kind of say, oh, okay. Or there was English intermixed throughout the conversation. Right. And I think this one's still playing at the Strand Theater in San Francisco, part of A.C.T. Actually, yeah, so if you have an opportunity, check out her Manitou. Yes. Then on March 14th, Jess worked again at the Bankhead Theater. Yeah,
Thursdays are kind of turning into my theater days sometimes. You know, if I have appointments or I haven't had any appointments made, I sign up for that day. So there was 2 speakers. One was just a generic morning introduction of nonprofit organizations. Okay. So it was a great time to go. And then in the afternoon, Janet Beard showed up. And she talked about her book, The Atomic City Girls. And, you know, it was kind of a novel about girls that grew up in the Manhattan Project, you know, the city in Tennessee where they created this place to create a nuclear bomb. So it kind of goes into that. I'm starting out in the book, so I'm hoping to read it more and let you know what it was all about. She was a really sweet lady. She came all the way from New York, and she's writing a few other books. So definitely, if you are looking for a book to read, The Atomic City Girls is really popular. So awesome and enjoyable.
Yesterday we had another big theater day. We saw a production of Hamilton. Yay! Same production we saw before.
Number 6.
But Hamilton is still one of our favorites, and this time, I think the first time we saw it when they just got back here, it was shortly after they came back from Puerto Rico, and I felt that. Yeah. But this time they seemed to have it together. They had the energy, and it was fun.
The King was definitely on point. He had a lot more energy. They've even added a little part that maybe we didn't notice before, where Aaron Burr comes out after the King does his kind of his dance, or he's sitting on the stage, and he's wondering, what are we going to do now? And they both look at each other and kind of give like a laugh, like, whoa, you know. And I thought it brought you out of it, but I guess it can add to it. It kind of seems new to me. But we learned, each time that we go, people are like, well, you've seen it 6 times, is it that good? But it really is. Not only that, but you learn different parts with each show that you see. And having the opportunity to see Hamilton so many times and being here, it lets you experience, okay, I can look at this now because I know what's going on over here. We paid attention to the choreography. I really paid attention to lighting. And there's 2 elements that I'm going to look at the next time that we go. So Hamilton, always our favorite. And SHN has some tickets available if you're looking in June. They're about 200 in the loge. Okay. So actually where our season tickets are.
And then we finished, Nessa wants to say hi again. We finished up last night going to Feinstein's at the Nikko again, and we saw a performer named Matt Alber. I've seen Matt Alber before in San Francisco. He's a gay artist, just kind of has a Rufus Wainwright kind of sound to him.
His vocal range is amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
really cool.
gets up there.
He does some crooner stuff. He does some very emotional things. He had some swing types things as well. He's got amazing vocal range and just very cool to listen to.
There's nothing better than when you are watching an artist and because of his own music, he tears a little bit. And I saw that while he was playing the piano.
Yeah.
One of the songs he got kind of emotionally involved in.
Yeah.
And you felt it and you saw him wipe away a tear, and that's always kind of it means that they really are in tune and in love with what they are doing, which makes me happy. So he also handed out USB sticks with all of his media, including some things that are not published, and he signed it for me. So I really want to thank you, Matt. So that was kind of a neat feature there. So.
Yeah, and in addition to his music, he's been doing some movie making. And one thing that's actually really cool, he's got a series called Room to Grow, which follows LGBT. So I unfortunately haven't been able to see those, but I'm very excited to watch those. And you can watch them too. There's an app called Reverie, Revry, that is, you can download and you can watch a bunch of queer content for free. And the series Room to Grow is all part of that. So encourage you to download Reverie and check out his work Room to Grow, and then other stories that are on there now. If you have any suggestions of other shows you think we should be seeing, please let us know in our comments below. And we'll try to see as much as we can, but life also takes over and we can't see everything we want to.
True. We're taking our vacation for spring break starting at the end of this month, so hopefully the next podcast will actually be from our Welp Resort
in Palm Springs,
right?
So this may not be behind us.
We could bring it with us, but we are flying down, so we'll see how that goes. So Nessa Rose will be staying with her Uncle Cody. So
very cool. Well, thank you for watching, and we look forward to just sharing our theater experiences next time we do one of these.
Yeah, love it.
So have a great one. Bye.